Yo, what is up, guys? What is poppin'? We are here for my draft recap for the IDM, the International Draft Masters or whatever it's called. It's a league run by Zamcro, and it will probably start at some point during September, I think, once the NPL is over. So I thought, why not join another league to go along with the ITL? And this is gonna be fun. Like we just finished drafting, or basically I made my last pick, and I decided to record and upload this shit here so that you know my team. And I'm really hyped for this team. Obviously, get some nice threads on the squad, and I guess we just hop in it. It was a tier draft tier based draft with like 6 mandatory picks and then 5 free picks, where you can choose from different tiers for a certain amount of points. You all should be familiar with that. It's kind of like the GBA does it. And yeah, I got the 5th pick out of 12 guys, so I figured I might have a shot at one of the broken monks in the format. Really wanted Mega Marwile, but that got sniped. But I actually picked another fairy steel type, and this is Magierna here. I don't have a nickname yet. You can leave nickname suggestions in the comments if you want. Still trying to think of some for my mons, but definitely should be hyped. So Magierna here. It's crazy that this thing fell to me at number 4. I think Lando I got picked at number 5. I think Lando I got picked at number 4. Tapu Lele at 2. Mega Marvel at 2. Tapu Lele at 1. Mega Marvel at 2 or 3. And some other random mon was picked as well. So I somehow got my hands on this Magierna. This thing will actually be my Z captain, obviously. So I'll just put the Stadium Z in there. I decided to go with that thing as my Z captain because setup Magierna with the Z moves is kind of broken. A lot of leagues have this thing banned. I haven't seen it used super well besides my boy Matty Brolic in season 6, I think, of the NPL. But besides that, I haven't seen too many people have success with it. So I'm happy that this thing isn't banned and I could get my hands on that. I'm sure once I'm finished with this league, this thing will be banned in at least one more league probably. Magierna is a Sigma. Looking at his stats, has great all-around bulk with the best defensive typing in the game, and his nice 130 special attack with several setup moves that make up for its lackluster speed. Mostly what's called shift gear, which doubles your speed, as well as the trick room. Magierna is kind of impossible to prep for because you basically have to prep for 5 to 10 sets all the time, and if you if you're not prepped for it, you basically can get reverse 6 out even if Magierna is the last one left. If it gets a chance to set up with the solar ability after getting a kill at maybe +2 speed, there's not a lot that can potentially stop it, and with its coverage, basically can hit everything in the game. It has a couple of hard counters, but in the draft format, you can easily get rid of those with potential Z moves or hidden powers or whatever, or like by just trapping them with some other stuff on your team. So Magierna here definitely will be the backbone of this team. Probably it's like a crazy good mon. I don't think I have to go over it. Everyone knows what does. It can like just drop flare cannons on people. Has the ice beam and thunderbolt coverage, which is nice. It's energy ball, focus blast, which is super cool for a Z move, Z crystal set. Has the volt switch for initiative. So yeah, like really solid for my squad. Obviously, can do quite a lot of stuff, and I'm really hyped to use it. So in round 2, I actually wasn't even sure what I wanted. I considered stuff like guard jump or something, but that got picked, and then I was like, how the hell is this thing still there? And my second pick in round 2 was the Zygarde here. This thing is absolutely wild. I don't know how this was not a first round pick or an early second round pick. Like ban 1,000 waves, 1,000 arrows is just a stupid move. The overall bulk is incredible. It can set up substitutes on a bunch of mons, can go for coil on them, and by going for sub coil, it can even beat some of its counters 1 versus 1, which is absolutely crazy. It's another mon that has to be that you have to over prep for, because otherwise it just sweeps you or has a chance to get a kill every time it comes in. It also has fantastic synergy with Magierna resisting Magina's fire weakness, obviously, and doesn't care too much about earthquakes, but with its sick physical bulk. And it also like gets rid of a bunch of counters to Magina, namely steel types that Magina doesn't always want to break, especially if it's like a setup variant and can't carry all coverage moves that it normally would like to run. It's a setup sweeper too with Dragnets, can be run defensive with like Dragon Tail and Toxic and shit like that. Has a glare for speed control, which is kinda cool. E-speed for some nice priority, obviously. Has some cool signature moves in Core Enforcer, which nullifies an ability, or even 1,000 waves that trap him on. And trapping is like really good in Gen 7, so I'm definitely gonna use that at some point. I'm gonna pull up some rest talk sets. If your opponent potentially doesn't have a dragon resist, can just like rest talk coil, dragon tail or something like that. But overall a super solid mon, even though its base 100 attack is kinda lackluster, it can still hit incredibly hard. Obviously the speed isn't too great, but with this amazing all-around stats, I think it they kinda make up for that. So that's kinda cool. Next up in round 3, I really wanted Weavile, but that sadly got sniped. I mostly wanted Weavile because I have shit like Hooper Unbound in my division that I want to pursue trap, but yeah, what can you do? I decided to go with Zapdos instead. Gives me a nice defogger. Once I had these two here, I started to make a rough draft plan, and my draft plan didn't have too much hazard control, so especially with Weavile. So I figured Zapdos is a solid mon. There's a nice synergy with Zygarde and Magina. It's a nice ground immunity. Forms a solid volt switch core with Magina, obviously. Slow volt switch, or like the volt switch in general, can help Magina come in for free, as well as Zygarde. Has crazy high special attack, solid speed here with base 100. Nice abilities in pressure and static, like pressure stall is real. It's a very solid strategy at some points, especially versus stuff that potentially only has one move to hit you with, for example, like Stone Edges from, for example, Scarfland or T or something. If you run like the sub roost set, you can easily stall that thing out of Stone Edges and like basically function as a hard counter to that thing. It also has the agility baton pass potential here. Agility into stuff like Zygarde or Magina could be nice, but anyway, like baton pass is a solid move, just like Volt Switch and U-turn. It has Tailwind as another support move, Roost obviously. It's overall really fat with the 90, 85, 90 bolt. Has some key resistances to stuff like fighting, for example. It's weak to rocks, which is kind of annoying. It doesn't have the best move, but basically only has extrasensory, heat wave, and electric coverage, as well as hidden powers of its choice, but that's usually enough, so I'm not too worried about that. Also, air cutter, obviously, for flying stuff, which is cool. But yeah, overall, Zapdos is a really solid mon in my opinion. A very reliable defogger, and overall a very solid wall, especially versus some threats that kind of beat Magina or Zygarde. So Zapdos on the squad looking cool. Next up, I wanted to pick a rocker and another mon that really shines in Gen 7 in my opinion. Like, it's a monster in UU, and I'm glad it fell to me in round 4. And this is Cobalion, another Volt Switch user, another really fat mon, and especially in the physical side, great offensive and defensive typing with steel fighting, solid coverage with close combat, Edgequake, obviously Poison Jab, Iron Head, really solid moves overall. Nice support mon with Stealth Rock, Thunder Wave, Toxic, Taunt. Obviously, fast taunt is always nice. Gives me great speed here with 108 speed. Has a nice setup move with Rock Polish and Sword Stance, obviously, and like can really fit on any team that you wanna run. So that's kind of cool. There's a solid knockoff switch too, as a knockoff would raise its attack by one stage, obviously. And overall, in my opinion, one of the best tier 3 mons that are around. A very reliable rocker, a very solid pivot into a lot of stuff. Like, you can always run enough speed as you want, and then like max HP or close to it to switch into a plethora of typings. For example, like dragon attacks, psychic, not really psychic and fairy because fighting type, but it can take some hits for sure. It can switch into rock type attacks, obviously. It's a decent check to what's it called? I forgot that. Who cares now? Decent check to ice types that I was really weak to, because I don't want to go Magina all the time on ice typings, obviously. So Cobalion covers that. And yeah, overall, very nice support mod that can also function as a solid sweeper or like just having a lot of offensive pressure, even though the attack set isn't too great, but it can definitely make it work. Round 5, I wanted another um, stealth rocker. Obviously, I wanted another electric immunity because Zygarde can't be my check to electric types all the time. And I wanted Pursuit Trapper, and this mon here fit perfectly on my team. I'm really hyped that I got it as well. I never used it, just like I never used Zapdos, Zygarde, and Magiana, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. It has great abilities with the Intimidate and Moxie. It's a very solid Scarfer or Choice Band user with a nice attack. Has great move pool with Earthquake, Superpower, Aqua Tail, Dragon Tail, Fast Taunt, Fire Fang, Earthquake, Stone Edge, obviously Knockoff, Foul Play, Pursuit, obviously as I said, gets Stealth Rock, obviously, which is a big reason why I drafted it. And its bulk is underrated. Like, obviously it doesn't have the best special defense, but it can potentially go Assault Vest on this thing. With Intimidate, it makes for a solid physical wall versus some typings, even though like the defensive typing isn't too great, but can take some hits, you know. And yeah, Crook here definitely a very cool mon that I'm super hyped to use. I finally got my hands on it. I tried to draft it a bunch of times already, but now is finally the time. So now the team is looking kind of clean. I got a defog already. I got 2 rockers, a nice Volt Turn core basically, or Volt Switch core. Nice offensive pressure already, and yeah, I'm starting to like build my Dragon Fairy Steel core obviously with my first 2 picks. I need a Grass, Water, Fire core, and I want another spinner and potentially a spin blocker because I want to abuse hazards with Magiana and Zygarde, because after T-Spikes or Spikes or Rocks, those two get a bunch of O-Cost or 2-hit KOs that they otherwise wouldn't. So I wanted a spin blocker to make sure that I keep my hazards up if I want to, and Delma is fit on the team perfectly. It's another tier 3, and we got 2 mandatory tier 3 picks, so Cobalt and Delma are mine this week, in this league. And Delma is actually a mon that I didn't intend to draft. I kind of was also looking at Lurantis in tier 4, but my boy Matty Brolic said Delmas is great, fits on the team perfectly, and I agree. Like, Ghost Grass is an amazing typing. This thing has a very solid overall bulk. Base 70 HP is not the best, but 100 defense and 90 speed def is solid. If you pair it with a Wish Passer, as I will do with my next pick, spoilers, this thing can take a lot of hits and can function to a counter to a bunch of typings. As I said, it's a spin blocker and rapid spinner, and the good thing about a spinner like Delmice with the ghost typing is that it beats other spin blockers. So a super reliable spinner, even though it's weak to all forms of hazards. That isn't too bad if you got to pair it with a cleric or something. This has a decent move pool that has 3 different steps because of the Steelworker ability, which is hype. So Anchor Shot, excuse me, Anchor Shot is another trapping move that I have on my team, which is super cool to force the target to stay in and then like get in a mon that hard counters it, and your opponent can't really do anything about it. So that's kind of clean. Obviously got the Gyro Ball on there too. Anchor Shot probably will be my move of choice on the thing. It has Brick Break and Earthquake, Power Whip, obviously Shadow Claw and Sword Sense even to set up. It also has like the what is called Phantom Force or Shadow Force or something. Don't want to go that one. It has Switch the Roof for some fun sets. It has Surf for special coverage. The special attack isn't too bad. Same with the Giga Drain, which it also has. So it's the Flash Gun for stab, and the what's called Shadow Ball. So they definitely could go special. Slug Wave 2 on this thing, which is cool. But I can pull some shenanigans, even though it's like most of the time it has the same 3 or 4 moves on it. I can like go with some fun stuff like Whirlpool, even if you wanna Whirlpool Toxic Stall something. It's a pretty interesting mon, and I'm hard to use it for sure. I'm not like, I haven't seen it used too well, but it always does like kind of well in those tournaments like Summer Showdown or March Madness. That's always on one of the teams in the bracket play, and then like top 16 and top 8. So it has to have some merit in the format. Like Rapid Spin, Ghost Typing are obviously great. So yeah, that's Delmas here. And next up in round 7, I picked him on that my boy Dylan, aka Gypsy King, is really fond of, and I wanted to use it as well. Zazo, Unfinished Gaming, also always says how great this thing is, and I see why. Like Licky here, the big blob, the golden bastard with his tongue, trying to find some pussy here. A sick mon, a great wish passer with this huge HP stat. Cleric obviously with healbar has a sick move pool with a solid attacks at 85. It's not too bad, so it's not like passive at all. Can't be taunted because of its oblivious ability. Stop some weather setters if I like face them, which is nice. Has, like as I said, a sick move with disable, body slam, dragon tail, knockoff, fire punch, ice punch, hammer arm. Like it basically gets the whole thing. Thunder punch too. Can be a sword stance sweeper, can be a curse sweeper, can be a belly drum sweeper. Has amnesia, like gets all the good stuff. Gets counter too. If you wanna like chop a counter for to learn some fighting types or something. It's a really cool mon. It's icy wind too for some speed control, and like a pretty heat mon as well. Like it can do a bunch of different things. Obviously, it's mostly come as a wish passer, but it can be so hard to kill. Like this all around build is fantastic, and it gives me another important speed here with the base 50 speed. Which like you gotta make sure you have different speed tiers, and I have that right now. I still need a very fast mon, but I will find it later in the draft. So my boy Licky here, definitely looking clean on the squad. Next up, I got another mon that Gypsy used quite often already, and like it's a mon that I used to really like, even though it broke my heart back in ITL season 5 when it 1v1 by Snorlax. And this is Quillfish, the goatfish here. Another intimidate user, also has the poison upon swift swim. Very interesting abilities, all it can make use of, which is nice. Not the greatest stats all around, but with intimidate and potentially like strap a rocky helmet on this, and it can take some hits and chip down some stuff. It gets spikes and toxic spikes, which I really really wanted on my team because like Hazard plus Magiana plus Zygarde is really wild. Has Aqua Jet for priority, which is cool. Destiny Bond, Explosion if you want to run like a Suicide Lead on offensive. Has Haze, obviously has Pain Split, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Poison Jab. Obviously the special attack not too great, but Poison Jab and Aqua Jet with Waterfall or something already clean. It has Taunt, Sword Stance, Thunder Wave, Toxic, Waterfall. Like, you can do really a lot of stuff with this thing, even though it's mostly like a hazard setup, but can be really annoying to take down. As the Heat Felt Stinger here, which is kinda wild, but obviously like that's not gonna come. You can run like Natural Gift if you run an SD variant with maybe Rain Dance. SD Rain Dance, Aqua Jet, and Natural Gift if like Poison Jet doesn't hit some stuff. But overall, a very solid mon and a nice, reliable hazard setup that I really look forward to using. And to round out the fish core that I was looking at here, I got one fish and I need the next fish, and that is Stunfisk here. A mon that I really like to use in the NPL. I picked it up and it put in so much work already. I decided to get it again because I got a Tapu Koko in my division, in my conference and division on a very threatening team actually, and I wanted a solid check to it. And this is like this Stunfisk can do can get the job done. Obviously, there's a nice move pool as well. Obviously, most of the time it's gonna run Stealth Rock, Toxic, and like Dual Stab or a Hidden Power if it choice with like Earth Power and or a Discharge as the last move, but can do a little bit more. It has Rock Slide to learn some stuff that's weak to it. For example, Volcarona. It has Sludge Wave to learn Fairies. It has Surf or Scald if you want to go for that. Has some setup moves here, but most of the time it's like just a reliable special wall and a fantastic check to electric types, opposing electric types, which my team kinda struggles with, not too much, but you don't like it basically stops Volt Turn action from going on because it blocks the U-turn by paralyzing stuff, which is always nice with the static obviously, and it blocks the Volt Switch, which is super cool. So this is a mon that I probably will bring to quite a solid amount of games because it's just so solid overall. Next up with my second to last pick, I decided to get Talon Flame around, which is Waterfire Grass Core. Flame Body and Gale Wings, two very solid abilities, even though Gale Wings got nerfed obviously. But it still has this crazy speed here with 126. Outspeed stuff like Latios at level 100 with an Adamant Nature, which is high. Decent attacks and not too great, but obviously can run a Sword Stance set or a Bulk Up set to like what's called to like boost its attack and then be a dangerous sweeper with, for example, Acrobatics, Flare Blitz, Brave Bird, I'm not a fan of recall moves, but on Talonflame it's not too bad because it's so fast. Can always roost up potentially. There's another fast Taunter, another U-turn user, which helps me get in Magia and our Zygarde safely. It has the Will-O-Wisp on defensive sets. Like, I think defensive Talonflame is super underrated. It checks some stuff, like for example Mega Lopunny fairly well because it will eventually get the burn with the Flame Body, which is cool. And then like your opponent has to think twice about clicking a physical move if you wanna like bring defensive Talonflame versus that. So if you get hit by some stuff, you like the chance that you get a burn off is pretty high, like 30%. So that's kind of cool. Talonflame obviously not a very versatile mon, even though like obviously most of the time in Gen 6 especially it was mainly run offense, but it can be a very solid defensive mon, and I hope I can use it fairly well. Yeah, like this team overall looking very solid, but I didn't have a Mega yet, and I knew this Mega was going to fall to me in round 11. It's another mon I really had to use. I needed a fat Psychic type, or I wanted one. I didn't need one. You never need a certain typing. But I wanted one, and I needed another fat water typing, or wanted one. And I decided to get Big Buddy Slowbro here. Mega Slowbro, a mon that I think is really, really underrated with its crazy defense stat. Very solid overall build. A very solid special attack build, and with Heal Bell and Wish support, this thing may be alive for every battle for all the time. It's a setup user that can't be crit with Shell Armor, obviously. So if you get a combined and run, for example, a Rest set or something, this thing can just sit there and win games on its own. It's another mon that can just reverse 6-0, and definitely a pain to prep for. You have the right support for it. And I think I got this. Got the right support for Slowbro going on here. Especially like the Licky Slowbro core is just disgusting. Try breaking that down. Not gonna be too easy. I have the Regenerator before Mega Evolving, so I can always use it as a pivot before Mega Evolving. I can like switch into an attack and switch out again. I can't stay in unless I use Protect because we have to Mega Evolve on the first turn we attack, but or we set up or something. But we can use Protect, so that's kind of interesting. But Regen here, pre-Mega Evolution is super nice. This thing is just so dangerous in general. Like you always see him put it work in OU. Like it did fantastically in Gen 6, and it still gets the job done in Gen 7, even though like there are better wall breakers around, obviously with stuff like Median and Zygarde that usually runs Toxic on choice band sets, for example. But Slowbro here with the team I have and the support I have, I think it has a very solid chance to shine. It's not a Mega that will come to every game, can't come to every game, obviously, because it's just a solid physical wall. But obviously, you gotta play it right in order for it to put in work. I think it's underrated. It never gets drafted, kinda, and I want to show off like how well it can do in the form. 130 special attack is actually pretty nice. You can run some trick room sweeping sets if you want to, like. And the move pool is super sick too, so yeah, you may be able to do some wild stuff with the Slowbro stuff. That's the team for the IDM. I will try to upload every battle, and I hope you guys enjoy the team. Like, definitely leave nickname suggestions in the comments. I'm not sure if I will go with my usual nicknames or not, but definitely looking forward to use the squad. I think it's a very, very well drafted squad all around. The first two picks are just broken, and then all the support around here, like Default, Volt Switch, Stealth Rock, Taunt, like super fast taunts, Pursuit, Rapid Spin and Spin Block, Spikes, Wish support, Heal Bell support, Stunt with support, obviously, and like Talonflame with Slower. I love this team already, even though I haven't used it yet, but definitely should be hyped. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, and yeah, definitely like let me know what nicknames you want to see on the squad. And yeah, I think I'd catch you in the next game, which should be like NPL or ITL week, whatever. So see ya guys.